Hello and welcome to the Litmus Training Apps 2018.1 release webinar. Appreciate you spending some time with us. I'm Mike Sidoris, Senior Director of Product Management with Litmus Training Apps, and I'll be the person presenting today. Quickly, just the agenda for the next 30 minutes or so. Start with just kind of quickly going over the highlights in our 2018.1 release, followed by a demo of some of the cool new features that we've added, and then moving on to important dates around the release, when customer access begins, as well as the release date. And then lastly, we'll wrap up with highlighting what's next with Litmus Training Apps. As always, our safe harbor. All right, so kind of just jumping right into our 2018.1 release. This particular release had a lot of focus on our subscription module. In discussing with a number of customers, this is kind of a key initiative that each of them are going or undertaking or have undertaken. And a few areas that, in great conversations we had with each of these customers included adding the ability to include a subscription trial. So essentially, for those defined subscriptions within LTO, being able to start a subscription or offer a subscription to have a trial period for a set length, as well as essentially allowing students to have access to only select courses versus the whole lot. Included, kind of tied into that, is adding some usability feature or updates, which will be kind of highlighted in the demo here, but making it easier for students to kind of hone in on specific courses, as well as save courses to go back to in future sessions. And then lastly, one of the key items, if you will, from this release that we heard from a number of customers is the ability to renew a subscription. So as a subscription winds down to the last 100 days or less, or as an expired subscription, giving the purchaser the capability to go ahead and renew that subscription so that students can continue on with it. Included in that is the capability that if a particular purchaser of a subscription is no longer with an organization or is no longer working with a particular team, being able to actually shift ownership of a subscription to someone else on the team so that they can go ahead and take renewal and manage the subscription. And then lastly, another nice customer feedback and great ask is allowing the ability to complete a transaction with multiple credit keys or monetary keys. So basically, as you go through the checkout process, if a particular key only has so many credits, being able to use multiple keys in order to complete a transaction. All right, so now if we go ahead and jump over into LTO here, we will now go over some of these great features here. So I'm in LTO, I'm in the course catalog, and the first thing we'll review here is the trial. We'll do a quick keyword search here for a particular subscription that we're familiar with, that we're interested in taking a look at. In this case, 2018.1 release subscription. We'll go ahead and click on the schedule and pricing. What you'll notice right away here, when we go into the schedule and pricing, is that we have 3 separate listings for this particular subscription, each with different verbiage around trials. So each of these subscriptions listings can actually be started with a trial. And essentially how the trial has been developed is it's on a per listing basis. So if a particular subscription has multiple listings, you can offer a trial for any one of those and kind of define it uniquely across each of those. So if we kind of jump into the LTO admin now, I'll quickly show you how to set up a trial. So in LTO admin here, we go to subscriptions, and then we go underneath listings. We'll go ahead and search. So we want to search for a specific listing that we want to enable a trial for. So we'll look for 2018.1 release. Go ahead and click that. In this case, we'll look at the single user, so listing 2619. Once that refreshes the page here, you'll notice that we have a new tab that has been added called Trial Period. So this is on a specific listing within a subscription. And it will be on this tab where you'll be able to go ahead and configure the trial for this listing. So just a couple quick notes here. The flag to actually enable it. So to make it live within the course catalog, you can define the length of the trial to be whatever you would like. So if we had 25, let's say that we actually want to shorten it to only 10 days. So we can update it to 10 days. And then just below, you can define which courses the students, once they register for this particular trial, what courses they'll have full access to. So it's basically all the courses that are included in the package. The one caveat is that you cannot include a classroom or vClassroom as part of the trial period, primarily because the classroom or vClassroom could potentially be outside of the length of the trial and may expire by the time the particular classroom or vClassroom would take place. The courses that you'll be allowed to select are e-learning as well as replay courses. So in this case, we've selected a couple courses, so we'll just leave that how it is. Go ahead and save this. And then if we come back to the student view, so now we're back in the course catalog, you'll see that this listing 2619 that we were just looking at has been updated to 10 days. Label itself will be available in site branding, so you can update it to be whatever you like. The 10 just gets applied based off the number of days you define on the trial. So we'll go ahead and register for this particular subscription. Log in here is Terry. So basically with the trial, we've shortened up the registration process. So basically all that will be asked is just basic information about the user. So everything looks to be filled in as expected. We'll go ahead and hit continue, and you'll see here that we've actually the registration has been confirmed and completed. Underneath price, you see it's been listed as a trial, and everything is pretty much ready to go. What we've added to the confirmation page for the subscription is a nice little link here that will essentially allow the student or the purchaser to click directly into their student portal on the My Subscription tab. So now we're actually in the student portal as Terry Lydon, and you'll see right here, this 2018.1 release subscription is the one that we just registered for. And you'll notice a little bit of verbiage here, trial ending soon, upgrade now. So it's basically a bit of information back to the purchaser, the student that's reviewing the trial subscription, that they should go ahead and upgrade soon. And you'll notice as well underneath the expiration that it is 10 days from now. A few more comments just on some updates on the My Subscription tab here. So we've added a few things with this particular release. We've added columns of number of seats and number of activations. These are two columns and only visible for the purchaser so that they're aware of number of seats that are included with the subscription that they've purchased, as well as of those seats, how many have students have actually activated. So based off of passing out an activation key to students, how many of those students have actually activated. If the person that is logged in, so in this case I'm logged in as Terry, if the purchaser is not the same as the person logged in, as you can see here, in this case, Rich Henderson is the purchaser, we will not see that kind of information because it's going to be specific only for the person that purchased the subscription. Additionally, you'll see that we've added an actions column. We had some great feedback from customers kind of requesting that it makes sense that we should have a more information button within the subscription, My Subscription tab. Pretty much we have that kind of functionality throughout the system, whether it's under My Registrations or within the course catalog. You'll see that we have an upgrade option now, so that would be basically allowing a trial subscription to be upgraded, as well as, and we'll review this shortly, there's an action button called Renew. So basically being able to renew a particular subscription. So we'll go ahead and dive right into the details. of the 2018.1 release subscription, and just a few UI updates on the screen as well. So we added this little caret here at the top to hide the summary description of the subscription that has been added just in case there's a lot of detail about the subscription that the student's looking at that might push down the course listing a bit, allowing the students to close that off and kind of make it so that you have to scroll as much. You'll also notice that we've included some filters over here on the left. So basically allowing the student to kind of hone in on specific courses that they might be interested in within the course listing. So pretty self-explanatory here, being able to quickly, see what courses they may not have started, what might be in progress, recently viewed, which would be essentially the 10 last courses that the student viewed. So that's basically clicking on any one of the action buttons. So if someone clicked on more information or launch or select, they'll track the last 10. And that way then the student, next time the next session, if they log into their student portal, can kind of see where they last left off and pick up from there. We've also added a favorites filter. So as you kind of hover over this little heart here, you'll see an add to favorites. In this case, we already have a couple here, kind of basically a way to filter down to courses that may be saved. And then moving down to the categories, by default we have all 6 categories that are available found within the filter here. So basically this is a kind of a way to filter down courses that may have been grouped together. So you can filter at the category top level, or if you want, you can drill a bit more into a specific category element. Go back and clear out the filters. Notice that there's this little comment at the top here, letting the person know when their particular subscription will expire, as well as kind of just let them know that they only have access to select content. Under the actions, we only have 2 courses with the launch button, because these were the 2 courses that set up within the trial stating that the student would have full access to. All other courses, the student will only be able to kind of view more information about the particular course. So let's go ahead and launch one of these courses real quick. Go ahead and register that. Okay, yeah, that looks good. Let's say we look at the other course here that we have available. All right, that looks great as well. All right, excellent, we like it. So we want to go ahead and upgrade this particular subscription into a full pay subscription. So we click the upgrade button here, it'll bring us back to the My Subscription tab. So it's at this point within this view, we can go ahead and upgrade. And so the checkout process for the most part is pretty much similar to what we have now. We go through, go to checkout, make sure all the information about the purchaser has been added correctly. All looks good. And now we're on to the payment page. So it's on this page that I want to highlight another great feature that's going to be included in this release, which is the ability to purchase or complete a transaction using multiple credit keys. So for this particular subscription, we see that we have the option to use credit, pay in US dollars. So in this case, let's go ahead. We have a couple credit keys available, so let's go ahead and pay with credit. So we'll select from our payment method, prepaid credit. So that's just how we have it defined. It could be credit key or a monetary key. This functionality is set up for both. So I have a credit key here that I have saved. I'll go ahead and input that. I'll validate it. And you'll notice a little comment or message stating here that we don't have enough credits available, that we should put another credit key. And what you'll notice as well that we've added is a little box here that basically will track all the credit keys that have been inputted. You'll see that there'll be a column for available. So essentially this particular key that we inputted had 100 credits available. And if we were to go ahead and complete this transaction, at the end of the transaction, it would have a balance of 0, meaning that we would end up using all the credits that were available. Additionally, you'll see just above the grid, a little notation, just letting the purchaser know how many more credits are needed in order to complete this transaction. So it looks like we need to input at least one more key in order to satisfy the number of credits that are needed. Luckily, we have another key, so I click the add key, which basically makes available for us to input another key. We'll go ahead and validate it again, and great. So it looks like now we have enough keys. We have a message come back saying sufficient credits, transaction can now be completed. And you'll see that that second key that I inputted listed just below the first. There were 200 credits available, and at the time of completing this transaction, there'll be 50 credits remaining for this particular key. It can still be utilized. We'll go ahead and finish. And now we've completed the transaction and have upgraded this particular subscription. And just like in the trial, you'll see we've added this nice little link so that the purchaser can link back to the My Subscription tab in the student portal. And now you will see that the 2018.1 release subscription no longer has any of the upgrade language and now has an expiration date based off of the date of purchase plus the length of the actual subscription. So in this case, 12 months. But one other thing, which is nice, when we come in here and view the actual subscription, you'll see that those two courses that we had viewed as the trial are still in progress. So we did not lose any of that progress data by upgrading this particular subscription. That information will remain. As well as you'll notice underneath the actions, now we have the ability to access all the courses that are within this particular subscription. So many more launch, as well as in this case, the select. So being able to select a particular schedule that we might want to take for this advanced admin skills. So we'll actually go ahead and click this because we did do some updates for Classroom. So once we click that, it'll pop up available schedules that the student could select. So in this case, we only have one. That looks good though for us. We're going to be in the Montreal area, so we'll go ahead and register. And that's it. Upon registering, it automatically confirms us here just because that's how we have it set up. And we don't have to go through a full checkout process. So now we are actually registered for this particular classroom. Go back and just refresh it. You'll see now for this particular classroom, we're marked as registered and we have the start date. So we know that on the 23rd is when this particular classroom will take place. All right, excellent. So now let's move on to our last part here, and that is completing a renewal of a subscription. So we'll take a look at this particular subscription right here, the 28-pack for trial. It has expired. If we click on it here, you'll see that we had already had progress on a few of the courses in the subscription. Because this particular subscription, Terry is not the owner of it or the purchaser of it, you'll see a little notation here that the subscription is expired and that Terry should go ahead and reach out to Rich about renewal. But let's say that Rich is no longer with the company and Terry is actually now the manager that should be kind of managing and be considered the purchaser of the subscription. So let's show you how we go about updating that information. So if we go back into LTO admin, we'll go ahead under listings, click search, and find that 28-pack for trial. So in order to switch the owner of a subscription, this is an admin-only function. So if a customer would like to have that swapped out, they would need to contact an LTO admin in order to do this. All right, so now we're looking at this listing. We'll go ahead and look at attendees. So these are all the individuals that have registered for the subscription. We'll see here's Rich. Here's the purchase that Rich had completed. We'll go ahead and select that. And now that that's selected, we've looking at that specific registration, we'll go ahead and click on the subscribed attendees. And so here's all the individuals that have have access to this particular subscription tied to this registration. And you'll notice that we have added this new column called owner. So it's basically allowing us the ability to switch who's considered the owner or the purchaser of the subscription. So in this case, Terry is, which is no longer, he can actually be removed. We'll go ahead and select Terry here. Go ahead and hit save. And now when we come back to the student portal and go ahead and refresh our My Subscriptions tab, you will see that that 28 pack, now Terry is the actual owner of it, and he now has the ability to go ahead and renew this particular subscription. The key though with being able to sign an owner is that you'll need to make sure that you add that particular student to the actual being part of essentially an attendee that's associated with the particular subscription purchase or registration. Once that's done, then you can go ahead and sign them as an owner. All right, so now Terry is considered the owner of this subscription. Let's go ahead and renew it since it looks like it expired about a month ago. We'll click on renew here, and the checkout process is pretty much straightforward. It's the same. The only comment that I'll make though, just about the renewal, is that you can only renew the same listing. So in that case, so in the case if a particular listing, we needed, the listing did not have enough seats, or you decide, or the purchaser decides they don't need as many. In the case where they need more, it's probably best to go ahead and renew the existing subscription, because by renewing the existing, those students that had access before, if they continue to have access after the renewal, all their progression data will remain, so they'll be able to continue on from where they last left off on courses, as well as all those courses they completed would be retained. However, if you purchased a new listing for a particular subscription and passed along activation key to that particular person, all that transaction data would actually be lost, since it's considered part of a new listing purchase. So go ahead and go through and complete the renewal here, the purchase. We'll just say that it's a PO, number here. It's the same. And then we'll go ahead and finish the purchase. So we've gone ahead and now completed the renewal. So again, I got the nice little link here. We'll click back to the My Subscriptions tab. And now you'll see that 28 pack for trial no longer has any kind of renewal language. You'll see the expiration date, since it had already expired, updated to today's date, plus I think the length was, it must have been a year. And you'll also see that this particular subscription has 6 seats included with 1 activation. So Terry, as the purchaser, can pass out the activation key to the same members that participated in the subscription previously, if he wants, so that they can kind of continue on with the courses that they may have already started, like I mentioned. Else, this gives flexibility that Terry can actually pass on the activation key to 5 new members, or any kind of mixture of existing and new. And one other note to just quickly show here is if we click into the information, so viewing the details, you'll see that again, we have access to all the full actions to launch and view courses, as well as, like I mentioned, that history from the previous subscription is retained. So you see that particular course we had completed, as well as in progress here. All right, excellent. So that's kind of the highlights of the cool stuff that we've added in the 2018.1 release here. So just kind of a quick info on the important dates around this release. You may have noticed in the webinar email that went out last week, as well as a few days ago, there was a comment that all these updates have been moved to demo. as of this past Monday, the 14th. So you can actually go ahead and take a look at all these great features on demo right now. You'll have ability to kind of review over the next few weeks here and provide feedback. And, based on feedback, we'll see and try to kind of complete as many of the items that's sent through prior to actually going live. And so kind of the go live date, our target is Friday, June 1st. So we got about, I think it's about 2 weeks from now, 2-3 weeks from now, is our target go live. So we'll have communication in the coming week or so with more details on that, including kind of roughly the time frame. Just like most of our releases, we're expecting no downtime, so it should be pretty seamless for everyone. And just one last comment as well, that sometime here prior to the go live, we'll send out the recording of this webinar as well as any updated release notes. All right, so just kind of wrapping up here, the plan ahead. So what's next? So kind of our focus on the next few releases, just one comment, we'll be moving, it's kind of more of a technical update, if you will, moving from TLS 1.0 to 1.2 by June 30th. So for the most part, this won't really affect anyone, any of our customers or our students, as long as they're using kind of the modern browsers. But basically, those that are using doing APIs and integrations with LTO, they may have to take a look at just how those connections are set up. We'll be providing a lot more information about this in the coming week with details, specifically around this, and feel free to reach out with any questions after you receive that information. Also, in the coming releases, we're upgrading kind of the way that we manage interactions with various payment gateways in regards to handling credit cards. Currently right now we use API connections into the payment gateways, and we're looking to actually kind of upgrade that and leverage a lot of what these payment providers provide with hosted pages. So looking to kind of switch out from API to leveraging these hosted pages. So similar to the first point here, there'll be a lot of communication around that. First one is targeted to go out on Tuesday with kind of what this all means, what's the detail around it, as well as we'll have communications in the coming weeks as well, just kind of what the flow will look like, updating the flow will look like, as well as configurations to consider within the payment gateways. With that particular update, we're targeting August, September timeframe for release, and we'll definitely be giving plenty of time for all of our customers to kind of test things out before going live with this, to make sure everyone's comfortable and ready to go. Also, just kind of in the next set of releases, a lot of focus on bugs and kind of those minor improvements that we've discussed with customers. This particular release took a bit longer than we had hoped, so we want to kind of get back to focusing in on a 6 to 8 week kind of release cycle. So that means that we'll be doing kind of smaller releases with a lot of focus on bugs that have been sent through or minor items. The big project that we'll be undertaking here in our next release will be with the new UIs that we've added over the last year or so, just ensuring that all the labels are available within the site branch for customization as well as translation. The last big announcement, if you will, is once again, Litmus Training Apps is being kind of rebranded in regards to its name and is now being referenced as Litmus Commerce. So essentially the commerce piece of kind of our Litmus business unit. We did announce this at our C3 conference late last year, but kind of now made it official that in our branding of our website and whatnot, that Litmus Commerce is kind of the naming of our solution moving forward. Moving forward, you'll be seeing a lot more. You'll essentially be seeing replacement of Litmus Training Apps and LTO with Litmus Commerce. It looks like we're right at the end here, but I do want to thank each of you for taking the last 30 minutes with me here to kind of go through and review our 2018.1 release. I look forward to your feedback and look out for communications from us soon. Thanks a lot. Have a great day and a great weekend. Thank you.